Hey everybody, this is George Brasher with Shakedown of Thunder Sports, and you're about to watch the two Irish brothers. Go Irish.
How's it going, everyone? I am Indy Sean 45,
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
and together we make up the Two Irish Brothers show. First off, yes, you people are not dreaming. The two of us are actually back on camera together after a little, somewhat lengthy hiatus. But hey, I've been recovering from shoulder surgery. Ben, he's had a lot on his plate. But two things first. You guys see the subscribe tab in the bottom right-hand corner? Hit that. Hit it right now. You know you want to hit it. Subscribe to our channel. Help us out. Give us some love. And second of all, we also want to give a very special shout out to a Mr. Vincent Sebastiano. He is the lead over at the Facebook page Love the Notre Dame, and we give him a shout out because him and the other administrators on that page, they have given us a little platform to post our show here and really just give the chance to get ourselves out there. So Mr. Sebastiano, we thank you for that, and we hope to have you on the show here in the near future. But with that said, getting a warm up after this little hiatus, we'll talk a little bit about all the excitement going on at Notre Dame, Ben, and there's been a lot of it.
Some moves, if you will.
Yes. Head coach Marcus Freeman, he is starting to put his staff together, and boy, did he make a recent splash. We'll start there first. Big news. Harry Hiestand returns to Notre Dame to coach the offensive line, which is absolutely huge, in my opinion.
Yep. Yeah. Nope. It was huge. And a lot of us were dreaming, saying his name, hoping, maybe living on a prayer, if you will, that he would come back. And lo and behold, he did, which is amazing and says a lot about Marcus Freeman. It says a lot about the culture in the program that Marcus Freeman is putting together and building at the University of Notre Dame. And I'm excited. I don't know what else you can say other than just super, super excited.
Oh, I know what I can say. I'm dreaming of Harry Hiestand coming back to Notre Dame. Okay, that's enough of that. But what I'm really excited about is not only the fact that he is returning, I'm excited about the fact that he's been with us before and he's good at his job. I mean, look at his resume of all the guys that he's produced. Ronnie Stanley, Zach and Nick Martin, Chris Watts, Mike McGlinchey, Quentin Nelson. Did I say Ronnie Stanley yet? So he has some pretty big names under his belt that are having some pretty good success in the NFL.
Yeah.
And with the way the offensive line was this past season, not really finding its identity until midway through the season, I think Harry Hiestand is going to do a great job at bringing some consistency to this group from the start of next season when it gets here.
Yeah, no, it's the guys that Marcus Freeman is bringing in bring a tremendous amount of experience. They've been through it all. And I think that if you want a successful football program, that's what you need to do. I mean, we've seen it, with Alabama, and we've seen it with Ohio State, and we've seen it with Clemson, LSU, got teams that have won titles the last decade and a half. So, Marcus Freeman is just going on that model, and that's exciting times.
Oh yes, and another coach that Marcus Freeman is bringing in is Chancey Stuckey to be the next wide receivers coach at Notre Dame. He comes to us from the Baylor Bears, and there's been a lot of Irish fans criticizing this move, and I don't know why you would. He did a hell of a job at Baylor with that group, and the numbers speak for themselves. I mean, a lot of talent that he produced or that he helped develop at Baylor. So I don't see why Irish fans would be such Well, why they would have such an issue with that, I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, Baylor has been a team in the last, I'd say, decade, probably starting with when Robert Griffin III was there. They have had an explosive offense and more specifically, an explosive passing game. So to have that, you got to have great wide receivers. And although some of those guys haven't done a lot on the NFL front, they were very, very, very big namers in college football. I mean, look at what Josh Gordon did at Baylor. So this is a guy that knows his stuff, and this is a guy I think that can right the ship of a mediocre wide receiver core that we have at Notre Dame. And that's not to say that we don't have good athletes. It's just our athletes have not performed at the level that we would like them at. I mean, we haven't seen Lindsey really be that guy.
Yeah.
We lost Jordan Johnson to the transfer portal. I mean, the list goes on and on. So, I mean, and there are a few exceptions, Claypool being one, I mean, he was phenomenal with us, and Fuller too. But how much better could our receiving core have been if we had a very, very good receiving coach?
Exactly. And also this past season, like we mentioned already, the offensive line was shuffling for quite a bit during the first 6 games. So they were trying to find their identity, which led to the quarterback play being suspect and not being able to do what they needed to do, but they still did a good job regardless. But we also had some big injury, a little injury bug plagued the receiving core. We lost Joe Wilkins for the season early. We ended up losing Avery Davis, and we only were playing the Fiesta Bowl, which for the record, that's behind us. We're not going to talk about that anymore. But we were only playing with, like, I think 4 or 5 scholarship receivers. So that's one thing that we got to develop too, is depth, not just getting the right kind of coaching in here, but going over Chauncey Stuckey's resume. I mean, maybe as he wasn't as explosive when he was a player himself, because I'm reading his stats here. He finished his NFL career with 106 receptions, a little over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns. So no, was he a Jerry Rice? Absolutely not. But sometimes guys are better coaches than they are players. That's just the way it is. But you look at what he's done. He spent a couple seasons with Clemson, which is where he went to school at. But I'm just reading the article from when Notre Dame announced him as coach, and here it says Stuckey joins Notre Dame after spending last season at Baylor as the wide receivers coach. In his lone season in Waco, Stuckey mentored Tyquan Thornton to career highs in receptions at 62, receiving yards 942, and 10 as far as touchdowns go, en route to second team all Big 12 honors by the coaches and the Associated Press. The 10 receiving touchdowns were the most by a Baylor receiver since Denzel Mims had 12 in 2019. Fellow wide receiver R.J. Sneed also set career highs in receptions, 42, receiving yards, 573, under Stuckey's tutelage. Following that season, Sneed earned all Big 12 honorable mention by the coaches. So that speaks for itself right there. This is a guy who knows to bring the best out of his guys, and not only that, but improve them, make them better, develop them into what they can be, to their full potential.
And what I was getting at, a few minutes ago with, Josh Gordon and some of the other guys at Baylor. No, this current coach did not coach them, but he had to keep up with the times. And he had, you have this standard that you come into that is, we're going to have a very explosive passing attack. You need to keep this going. We expect this of you. And that's what he's bringing to Notre Dame. I'm not saying he mentored those guys, but he knows the pressure of these guys and of what needs to be done. So that's huge. That's absolutely huge. And like you said, our depth right now is not great in that category. So another huge thing with him coming is hopefully we either A, bring in some guys from the transfer portal, or B, we get some recruits coming in later on that can fill some of those needs in later years.
Yes, and I was going to get to the transfer portal after we discuss the coaching hires here, but you're right. That is something that we are definitely going to need, is to build on our depth, and the transfer portal will definitely be a good place to look. But we'll get there in just a second. Now, the other big hire that just recently happened is Marcus Freeman is going back to his alma mater, and he is bringing in Al Washington to coach the defensive line.
Yeah.
And what more do I need to say about this? It is Ohio State we're talking about here. They have done great with their defense, especially on the defensive line. And so this is a big hire for us. Very big hire.
Yeah, and the thing that, Marcus Freeman made very, very clear in his introductory press conference is every guy that is on his staff is expected to recruit. Every
Yes.
guy is expected to form bonds with these players. And with this move with Al Washington, this is a huge recruiting move too. This is per Greg Flameg, and he goes, in the 2020, from 2020 to 2022, Al Washington was either the primary or secondary recruiter on 8 top 100 prospects, 11 in the top 150. So
Yes.
this is a guy that can recruit. So not only are you getting a very, phenomenal coach, you're getting a coach that does a really, really good job in recruiting, and that's what Marcus Freeman wants. So
and even Freeman himself,
huge.
Even Freeman himself, as we all know, hits the recruiting trail very hard. And the fact that we're going to have another guy who does the same thing, that's really going to help with trying to keep recruits fresh. I'm like, hey, this is what we do at Notre Dame, and so on. So it'll keep us in the sights of these recruits for sure. But just looking at Washington's line, I mean, he spent some time at Boston College. He did coach, was the linebackers coach at one time, and from what I'm reading here, he has a pretty good history of his guys getting drafted. So that will definitely be appealing to recruits that come to Notre Dame. Like this article that I'm reading here, it says that he'll be a key in getting 2023 standout recruits Keon Keeley and Brennan Vernon. So those are two top guys that we have in the class after this one. But he's definitely going to have his hands full here, because he's going to be very necessary in what it says here to the Midwest, because he has a lot of ties there. So Marcus Freeman is getting it done with bringing the right kind of staff. And I mean, obviously there's still some key spots, like who in particular is going to take over for him in the defensive coordinator role.
And the running backs coach.
And as well too. With that said, with the recent coaching hires, and you mentioned it after we were talking about Chancey Stuckey, there's definitely going to be some positions of need, and maybe the recruiting class doesn't necessarily cover that, but for next season, we're going to need some experience. And I was reading an article last week, and after forming my own opinion, obviously we know receiver, it would be best if we hit the transfer portal to try to find an experienced receiver.
Yeah.
So that's a given. But I say you also try to get a free safety to you can't replace a Kyle Hamilton, but you need to find a free safety with some experience. And I would definitely go with offensive line.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I mean, and I guess nowadays it is a good thing that the transfer portal is what it is, because it didn't used to be this way. But yeah, I mean, I think the wide receiving core is the biggest need currently on the team.
And I can't give names because I don't know who in particular that Notre Dame would be looking at, but those are definitely positions of need for sure.
Yeah, and it continues to be, like I said earlier, that if you want it to be where we're elite in that category, then you go to the transfer portal. That's one of the places. I mean, we see these bigger name schools get guys that are either unhappy or just displaced.
They're not getting the reps like they expected.
And then they go and become phenomenal athletes at that school. Notre Dame needs to do that.
Well, we found some big ones through that transfer portal that have really helped us. Ben Skoranek was one. He was kind of like that, that Wes Welker. Who's the dude that plays for the Bills?
Cole Beasley.
Yeah, Cole Beasley. I don't know why I couldn't think of him. He's a receiver that played that kind of role. I'm pretty sure we got Isaiah Pryor from the transfer portal. He turned out to be pretty key for us on defense with the experience. Who else am I thinking of here? Kane Madden filled in at guard nicely this past season, and we also just got a new kicker, or was it a punter through the transfer portal from? I think it was who was it? Let me look it up real quick. I'm pretty sure it was a kicker. Yep, it was kicker Blake Groupe, Grupe. He comes to us from it was definitely a Sun Belt conference, a Sun Belt conference team. Arkansas State.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Arkansas State.
That'd be a Sun Belt, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Pretty sure I could be wrong, but Arkansas State, that's where he comes to us from. So it's possibly looking like he could step in for Jonathan Dorr. Maybe they give a guy like a Harrison Leonard a chance, or I forget who the other kid is that we have for kickers. But I know Harrison Leonard was a preferred walk-on. So you'd think that he would be next in line, but obviously something's not right just yet if they're bringing in a transfer kicker.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But, we got how many months still? So, only time will tell. And, that's what the off-season workouts are for and all that. So,
well, but the bottom line is that's definitely where the transfer portal is a good thing. It fixes an immediate need. I know that there's definitely a lot of criticisms of it because, guys just up and leave real quick. And at the same time, that's not right either. But I don't know. I guess it's kind of like a love-hate relationship with the transfer portal and what it does to college football. Right. So I guess there's pros and cons, but I don't know. That's beside the point. So here we are. We are a couple months away from the spring practice and the spring game. But even before that, we have National Signing Day. What, this week or the week after?
That sounds looming. It's coming soon.
Yes. And so far, for the most part, the 2022 recruiting class is pretty much intact. I think we did lose a couple guys, but overall not bad. But the main thing is Marcus Freeman's staff is starting to come to light. And obviously the big question going into spring ball is the quarterback battle. And so far, obviously Tyler Buckner's there, and so still Drew Pine is there as well, which I was sure that he was going to be gone.
Yeah.
But
clearly it's an interesting situation for sure.
It's definitely going to come down to those two. And my early favorite is going to be a Tyler Buckner, obviously. And I think he'll be a pretty good quarterback especially if he learns to throw accurately.
Yeah. Yeah. It's going to get very interesting. And the signing day is the 2nd of February. So next couple days we have signing day. So
I knew it's usually around this time.
So the quarterback position will be for the second year in a row one of our most talked about situations in Notre Dame land. So we'll see. I was with you. I thought Drew Pine would be taking his talents elsewhere and sticks around. So interesting to see what's going to happen. And, we don't know everything these guys know. That's the thing. These guys, talk way more behind the scenes, and there are way more things going on than the media gets to know. So And not saying that we're media, but you know,
we are guys who cover the team, so I guess kind of technically we are. And I remember I did get a nice compliment from Irv Smith when he was on, because he was impressed with the question I asked. So remember when I said, "Hey, I might have a little bit of journalism in me after all."
Yeah, but swinging back around to that situation, it's going to be interesting. I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I know we had planned not to make this a long video. We're at the 20-minute mark right now. The AFC Championship is underway, and as we start to film this, it was 7-3 Chiefs at nearing the end of the first quarter. Could be different now, but I think this is a good place to cut it so we can go watch those games. And plus, this is just a nice little video to get us back in the thick of things. But one thing to keep in mind, though, even when the NFL season ends, we're still going to have football. And I know I mentioned this to you in a text, and I got to do some more research into it too, but the USFL is coming back. It starts in April, so we are going to have plenty of off-season things to talk about, and we should probably start picking our teams for the USFL.
Yep.
And myself, I'm leaning towards either the New Jersey Generals or the Houston Gamblers. Houston is number one, but I haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
Have you given it much look about all the teams? And
I'm in that realm too. I think maybe Houston or Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Maulers. So
it's a good. That's a good name.
I might go Houston though. I tend lately have been leaning a little towards Houston. So
see, and I'm leaning towards the Gamblers too, because that was the when the USFL, the original one, first started in '83. The Houston Gamblers was the team that Jim Kelly spurned the Buffalo Bills for.
Yeah.
So I got to give Jim Kelly some love there as far as that goes. But yeah. Anyway, Ben, it's great to be on here with you again after a little hiatus.
Yep. Likewise.
And I missed you, buddy. I missed you, man. Where have you been all my life? So yeah, nice little video to come out of our funk, come out of our shell, and get back to business. But hey, things are what they are. So again, it's great to get back. It's great to get back here. And anything else you want to add before we sign off?
I got nothing.
All right. So with that said, guys, Ben and I will try our damnedest to at least get out one video a week. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. No, that's life for you. Things come up.
Yeah. Well, and we're in the off season, so I mean, we're not going to beat a dead horse. There's only so much that can be said. If there's breaking news, of course, we'll try to get it out. But
yeah, maybe I guess maybe if we do one next week, it can be talking about the championship games, the upcoming Super Bowl
predictions or something. Yeah.
And we've had some interesting coaching hires in the NFL, especially for my Bears. But that's another video for another day. And I'm sure the Dolphins are on the. I know they're on the coaching trail too, but we'll cover that in another video. So on that note, everyone, I am ND Sean 45.
I'm Irish Benjamin 57.
God bless. Good night, or in this case, afternoon. And go Irish, baby.
Go Irish.